He's who celebrities go to when they want to talk to the dead. But is Tyler Henry actually psychic, or is he just good at cold reading people? In 2019, Henry's mother, Teresa Colwyn, learned a shocking truth after taking an at-home DNA test. The woman she grew up thinking was her mother, Stella Guidry Nessel, had actually kidnapped her when she was a baby.
It's pretty crazy.
When Colwyn was 13, Nessel was convicted of killing a couple who owned a motel and sentenced to 2 life terms. The revelation that Nessel wasn't actually her mother was certainly difficult for Colwyn, but it also raised a huge question for viewers of Henry's show. Given his clairvoyance, shouldn't Henry's powers have given him some insight ahead of time? Turns out, not necessarily. In a 2022 interview with Today, Henry explained that his personal connection to the situation ultimately prevented him from gaining insight into it.
Because it's me, because I have my own feelings and thoughts and expectations, that bias basically prevented me from being able to kind of connect intuitively.
Henry mainly uses his clairvoyance to connect his clients to people they've lost, and while it can be incredibly helpful for those grieving, sometimes it's best to leave things be. Case in point, the Season 1 episode of Hollywood Medium with Tyler Henry, in which Henry did a reading for NFL player Michael Sam. Henry's first connection was seamless. He relayed information brought to him by a close friend of Sam's who had died. But then Henry was asked if he could give some insight into Sam's missing brother.
He went missing in 1999. Me and my little sister was the last people to see him. And after that, we pronounced him dead 2 years later.
The pronouncement was made without actual confirmation of death, so when Henry said that he didn't get a deceased vibe, he gave Sam the hope that he might still find his lost brother. That led some fans to criticize the medium for conveying sensitive information without concrete evidence. YouTube commenters called Henry out, with one saying, "Don't say he's alive if you don't have 100% proof. You are giving this poor guy false hope." As of January 2026, Sam's brother is still missing. In 2016, Today invited Henry to give a reading to Matt Lauer, who was then a prominent on-air news personality for the network. During the reading, Henry had various insights regarding Lauer's maternal grandfather, his deceased father, their shared love of fishing, Lauer's health, and more.
There were times, guys, where my hands were shaking. The things he was saying were so spot on.
What Henry failed to foresee, however, was Lauer's incoming sexual misconduct case. He was fired by NBC in 2017 following a harassment allegation from a network employee. Henry's conversation with Lauer got a second life on YouTube after the anchor's firing, with the comment section filling with quips about Henry's inability to predict Lauer's legal woes. It also fueled skeptics like Last Week Tonight host John Oliver.
Everything about that is a little strange, not least the fact that it is weird to envision a scenario in which something happened at the Today Show offices and then Matt Lauer was the one who went home and cried.
Oliver noted that many of the points Henry made during his reading came from information Lauer had already shared with the public, like his deep connection to fishing with his late father. He suggested that Henry could have researched Lauer beforehand and presented that information as an eye-opening revelation. Sometimes on Hollywood Medium, Henry finds himself giving a reading to a celebrity who is skeptical of psychics in general. His most notable clash, however, was with British musician Boy George during Season 1. Boy George had been convinced to sit down with Henry by his manager, Paul Kemsley. Henry started the session by connecting Boy George to someone he had known who dealt with substance abuse before their death, but the British musician was unwilling to validate Henry's reading.
It's quite vague. It's quite vague.
For Henry, validation is necessary for a successful reading, and Boy George's refusal was making things difficult. At one point, Kemsley had to intervene.
Because I don't know if you're, aware that he's getting things ridiculously accurate.
Henry was eventually able to turn the situation around, but Boy George's skepticism did make for one of the more awkward interactions in the show's history. Readings that involve dead celebrities have often been criticized as being exploitative. It's pretty easy to dig up information on a famous person after all, and Henry wasn't immune to this criticism when he claimed to make a spiritual connection with the notorious B.I.G. In the Season 2 finale of Hollywood Medium, Henry sat with Lil' Kim, who had a well-documented relationship with the late rap legend. Of course, this opened up a conversation about Biggie's death because his killer has never been found. Through Henry's connection, the medium noted that the late rapper had a strong suspicion that someone wanted him dead.
He is having me bring up two people, and showing me two people conspiring together.
Except this is already a widely circulated public theory. When a clip of the reading was uploaded to YouTube, one commenter noted that Henry was literally saying nothing that hasn't been published already. Redditors also deemed the moment cringeworthy, with comments denying Biggie's alleged clairvoyance. For as many accurate predictions Henry has made, he's also made a fair share that were just wrong. And with his 2017 visit to the Kardashian household, it became clear that psychics can't get it right all the time. In season 2 of Hollywood Medium, Henry gave a reading to Khloé Kardashian. Aside from connecting with her late father and warning her of potential health issues, Henry also touched on her love life.
And for you, I really am feeling like love life is not the area right now that is reaching its peak.
He warned her to stay away from a man with an M name, and when Kardashian asked about her relationship with Tristan Thompson, he told her that everything would be fine as long as they worked around their respective schedules.
So long as we can make sure distance does not end up being an issue, we're fine.
Then 2018 happened, and Thompson was outed for cheating on Kardashian with multiple women. In 2019, he got caught yet again in another cheating scandal with Jordyn Woods. Suffice it to say, Kardashian and Thompson eventually fell out, but it's hard to dismiss Henry's misstep. Since his transition from child clairvoyant to Hollywood medium, Henry has made it a point to try and prove his psychic abilities to skeptics. In season 4 of Hollywood Medium, he underwent a brain scan conducted by Dr. Drew Pinsky and Dr. Andrew Hill during a live reading for Jackass star Steve-O. What they discovered was that Henry exhibited brain activity similar to that of someone who was falling in and out of sleep while he was doing his reading.
Does it feel like you're in a
dream? It does, like a daydream. That's literally how I describe it.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Dr. Drew later noted that these findings weren't enough to fully confirm Henry's clairvoyance. Instead, he theorized that there may be some empathic connective link between him and his clients that causes him to experience such an intense shift in brain activity. The results didn't do much to convince skeptics, and they didn't satisfy some believers either. While some fans rushed to defend Henry and debunk Dr. Drew's scientific theories, others questioned Henry's ability to actually read his famous guests. One commenter on YouTube said that they'd like to see him do readings on non-famous people who have no social media. Regardless of whether or not Henry's gift can help his clients connect to those they've lost, one thing's for sure, it isn't meant for investigative work. During an appearance on the Howie Mandel Does Stuff podcast in 2024, Mandel and Jacqueline Schultz asked if Henry had ever used his abilities to aid law enforcement.
There was a case actually on my Netflix show where I worked with a private investigator.
That happened during the one and only season of Life After Death with Tyler Henry. In one episode, he was given 2 unsolved cases, which, unfortunately, he appeared incapable of helping with.
They're not giving me any indication of this person being departed. Now, I have to be very clear here. They could be.
We don't think so.
Gotcha.
With the first case, Henry correctly identified the missing person as being a minority and said that an alias was a big part of it, but he was unable to provide any information that wasn't already known to investigators. Similarly, the only information Henry was able to provide on the second case, which involved a death, was that there was foul play involved.
When I'm connecting with this, for some reason, he's giving me a bit of a hard time breathing. I'm trying to gasp for air. It's making me nauseous to even have to connect with.
Ultimately, both cases remain unsolved, which didn't do much to deter skeptics and fans alike. More public scrutiny came with the premiere of Live from the Other Side with Tyler Henry. With live cold readings at the center of the show's format, Henry's abilities were being picked apart by skeptics even more, and it only took the first episode for the accusations to start flying. A universal critique of Henry's clairvoyance is its vagueness. When he spoke to Selling Sunset's Chrishell Stause and her sister Shonda Davison about the loss of their parents, Henry's insights were things that were already widely known or just glaringly obvious.
There's this feeling when she looks back in hindsight of how, if she were still here, she would acknowledge how proud of you she was for stepping up to the plate.
The main critique of the episode, though, was Henry's methods for finding spiritual links. At one point, he asked if anyone else on the couch had dealt with a family member who was diagnosed with cervical, breast, ovarian, or uterine cancer. One viewer called it laughably predictable, a desperate attempt to find some spiritual connection. And the person he was referring to, that was E-host Nina Parker, who publicly spoke about her mother's breast cancer diagnosis before the show aired. To be fair, Henry can sometimes provide specific insights and accurate predictions to his clients, but that hasn't stopped fans from exaggerating or reading too much into his clairvoyance. In season 1 of Live from the Other Side, he gave a reading to Ricki Lake and her husband, Ross Birmingham, in which he suggested a loss of material objects from both fire and water. Henry's choice of words made it seem like this had already happened.
The fire already happened.
Fire already happened.
You don't see another fire.
No,
I live in Malibu.
Yes, oh gosh.
Okay.
I get it.
Shortly afterward, Lake's home in Los Angeles did catch fire. Lake even posted a clip from her reading with Henry to Instagram, convinced that he'd predicted it, except he hadn't actually.
The kind of emphasis here is for some reason on water
water.
as well.
Okay.
Fire and water, we gotta watch it out.